Socialist Zohran Mamdani pressed on his plans for the NYPD once he becomes mayor during his meeting with President Trump in the Oval Office.
Is that a reduction from what you're at right now? Are you committing to maintaining the same level of cops?
I've committed over the course of the campaign to maintain the 35,000. That's the head count that we had through the campaign.
And not replace them with caseworkers, social workers? No,
I've said that's the head count that we want. What we need to do is make sure they can focus on serious crime.
Here to react, Saturday in America anchor and former White House press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany. So great to see you this morning. We've gone from defund the police to, let's just keep 35,000 head count for the NYPD.
Yeah, I have a deficit of trust here, I must say, with the socialist incoming mayor. Yes, a polite way to put it. He wants to eliminate the gang database. He has talked about emptying out jails in the city. And as Bill Ackman has pointed out, the only people left are like the most hardened criminals that are actually in jail. Maybe he changes. I think President Trump giving him the benefit of the doubt, saying people change. President Trump's always playing four-dimensional chess. You got to remember that here. But this is the same person who told us he wants to eliminate the gang database, which Jess Tisch credited with bringing down crime in the city.
Yeah, and of course, President Trump is always ever the optimist.
Yes.
He always gives you the opportunity. And of course, if Zohran goes and does the things that he said during the campaign, you'll get a different Donald Trump out of all that.
And I would note, on the night that he gave his acceptance speech about becoming the incoming mayor, Van Jones and David Axelrod talked about how there was a character switch, how he was this happy guy and then went on stage and he gave rather angry remarks. Yeah. He poked President Donald Trump. Mamdani has ability to do character switch. We've seen that before. We saw it on election night. We're seeing it here. We'll see which character we get, and I hope it is the character that is willing to work with President Trump.
You know, one of the sort of undercovered aspects of these elections that we just saw a couple weeks ago, obviously in New York, we had a full-blown communist who's running and espoused every sort of socialist thing that you could possibly imagine. But in New Jersey and Virginia, what you had were Democrats who ran very much against that old defund the police strategy. They talked about law and order. They talked about a secure border. They talked about lowering gas prices. The Democrat Party has never done a thing to lower gas prices. They want gas prices to be so high nobody can drive their car anywhere. That's part of their agenda. And so I do kind of think it's sort of interesting that at least during elections, I don't trust any of them, but at least during elections, Democrats are recognizing that actually their party doesn't have any of the actual answers.
They don't. I mean, President Trump, bottom line, handed Joe Biden 1.8% inflation. Joe Biden took it to 9.1%. That is a hard fact. They say the right things during the election. We'll see what they actually do. But President Trump is right to say, let's turn back to affordability. Let's talk about this. His speech at McDonald's was fantastic. And I have later Jeff Andrew on. You remember he was a Democrat. Yeah. Now he's a Republican. And he says, hey, Republicans, we've got to figure out health care. There's some work we have to do ahead of the midterms.
Yes, indeed. So what's coming up on Saturday in America?
Yes. So former Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang is here. Of course, he ran for New York City mayor. He was the front runner. I'm curious to see what he makes of that Mamdani-Trump video meeting. John Fetterman also here. Very excited to talk to him and a number of other great guests, Greg Laurie, among others.
That'll be fantastic. We will tune in and will not want to miss any of that.